Oh, hi there! I bet you're wondering what we're going to learn today. Today we're going to talk about exponents. So let's get started. What are exponents? I'm not exactly sure, but they look like this. Well, the big number is called the base, and the small number is called the exponent or the power. In this case, I would say 3 to the second power, or 3 squared, because anytime I see a 2, I can also say squared. It's like finding area. I take the length times the width, and if I had a square, that number would be the same. So let's imagine that I had a square with sides of 3. I would take 3 times 3 to find its area, or 3 squared. So what do I do with this exponent? It's simple. You start with the base. The base tells me what number you're going to repeat multiply. And in this case, I'm going to repeat multiply 3. And the exponent tells me how many times I'm going to repeat multiply 3. And in this case, it's 2. So 3 times 3. 3 is my base. And notice I repeat multiplied it 2 times. 3 times 3 equals 9. Okay, now that we've got the basics done, let's do some practice together. What would I do with 6 squared? Remember, when I say squared, it's to the second power. Well, don't forget the base tells me the number I'm going to repeat multiply. I'm repeat multiplying 6. How many times am I repeat multiplying? Well, I look at my exponent. That's the 2. The 2 tells me that I'm going to use 6 2 times, or 6 times 6. And 6 times 6 equals 36. You're getting the hang of this. Let's look at another one. 2 to the fourth power. 2 is the base, and it tells me what I'm going to repeat multiply. And 4 tells me how many times I'm going to repeat multiply 2. So I'm going to have 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Now I'm going to have to do some thinking to figure out this answer. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. And 8 times 2 is 16. So the answer to 2 to the fourth power is 16. Let's try another one. I think you're finally catching on. Oh, we have 5 to the third power. There's something you should know about numbers that are to the third power. Sometimes you'll hear them saying the word cubed when it's to the third power, because cubed means I take 3 numbers and multiply them by each other. Just like if I had a big cube, I would take length times width times height to figure its volume. So this could be said 5 cubed, or 5 to the third power. And I've already kind of told you the next part. 5 cubed means to take 5 and repeat multiply it 3 times. 5 times 5 times 5, which equals, I gotta think again. 5 times 5 is 25. That's like a quarter. And a quarter times 5 is 125. So 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. This isn't so bad. You're doing such a good job. I want to see if you know what to do with these that look a little bit different. Now we're going to be using other rational numbers and making them into exponents. But I think you'll handle it just fine. Take a look at this one. I have half, that's a fraction, to the second power. I could also say half squared. Remember that things to the second power can also be said to be squared. And that's simple. I take the base, which is a half, and repeat multiply itself by itself 2 times. A half times a half. Now, just a quick refresher. When I multiply fractions, I just multiply straight across. So 1 times 1 and 2 times 2. 1 times 1 is 1, and 2 times 2 is 4. So 1 half times 1 half is equal to 1/4. I could also say 1 half squared equals 1/4. I don't think that one fooled you very much. Let's take a look at another rational number that's been used as an exponent. How about this one? 1 and 2/10 squared. I can tell I'm not going to confuse you at all here, because 1 and 2/10 squared just means to take 1.2 times 1.2. Now, you would probably have to do this on your whiteboard, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you that 1 and 2 tenths times 1 and 2 tenths is equal to 1 and 44 hundredths. Or I could say 1 and 2 tenths squared is equal to 1 and 44 hundredths. You guys are really getting this, and I am so proud of you. Let's see now if you can do some of these on your own. Here's your first one. 4 cubed, or 4 to the third power. Go ahead and solve it and put in the answer to 4 cubed. Hopefully you got 64 because that's the answer to 4 cubed. Let's try another one. 2 and 5 tenths squared. 2 and 5 tenths to the second power. Go ahead and use your whiteboard to solve this. Hopefully you got the answer 6 and 25 hundredths because 2 and 5 tenths squared is equal to 6 and 25 hundredths, or 6.25. Let's try one more. 1/4 cubed, or 1/4 to the third power. Go ahead and use your whiteboard to solve this. Hopefully you got the answer 1 and 1/64. That's because you take 1/4 times 1/4 and you get 1/16. 1/16 times 1/4 is 1/64. You had to do that one in 2 steps. Hopefully that didn't trick you. How are you feeling about all this? I think you're getting it pretty well. Let's see if we can do it backwards. So I'm going to give you a number sentence, and you're going to tell me what it would be with an exponent. Sounds easy, right? It is. This is 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. Well, I know that 4 is going to be my base. Now, how many times did I use the 4? 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's 4 to the fourth power. See how easy it is? Try the next one on your own. 7 times 7 times 7 times 7 times 7 would equal 7 to the fifth power. Let's try another one. 1/4 times 1/4 times 1/4. This equals 1/4 cubed, or 1/4 to the third power. Seven and 6/10 times 7 and 6/10 times 7 and 6/10 times 7 and 6/10 equals 7 and 6/10 to the fourth power. Oh, yeah, you got through this. See, it's not so bad. Now it's time for you to do some practice all on your own.